Oh, today I've decided to explore Balanced Rock Mesa. I first noticed the mesa a few years ago when I was on a family hiking trip, and we brought some friends up here and we went to explore the Elvis Hammer, or also the Olympic torch. I like to call it the Olympic torch. I don't really see what Elvis Hammer means. Anyways, but from up on the plateau, well, I guess you would say down on the plateau below Balanced Rock Mesa, I could see all these neat rock formations, and they looked pretty cool. But the thing is, they were so far away and so much higher up, you could never really tell how big they were. So we're here today. We're going to go check it out. I'm excited. I've been wanting to do this trip for a long time. Kind of the only downer we have today is the wind's blowing so hard, but whatever, we'll get through it. Already, one of the first things I've noticed is just as you start to go out on the mesa, you're seeing all these cool rock formations. They're just these sandstone fins that are popping up out of the ground. It's pretty neat, um, just to climb up on them. We can see what's off in the distance. We can see, oh, look at that. I can see the La Salle Mountains. They're covered in snow. It's early April, but yeah, these are just really cool. I'm really liking this. Let's keep going, see what else we can find. There's Elvis Hammer, or sometimes it's called the Olympic Torch. You see Sand Flats Road in the distance. There's another interesting rock formation that you pass by to get to Elvis Hammer. There's no established trail, so I'm just trying to walk on the slick rock best I can, or onto the dead wood, get in these little washes. This is a great place to come explore. Yeah, I'm just a sucker for squeezing through these little gaps. I love exploring through these trees. Oh, look, there's a little arch. So windy today. Maybe we should call this Windy Arch. I think that might be a fitting name for today since it's so windy. Whoa, look at that. That thing looks more like an alien. I think he kind of looks like the alien from Independence Day. You know, the one that was driving the big ship in outer space. That's crazy. And you just never know what's around the next corner in this place. This is such a cool place. I'm so glad that I came up here to explore. Yeah, check out all these rock formations. This place is so interesting. Look at how the winds just scoured these things. There's like big chunks just where the wind's blowing them out. And look at this. There's like no bottom to these rocks. They're just floating. The wind has literally eaten away the bottoms of these massive boulders. Oh yeah, there's a better view. Look at that. Look at the wind swirling up in there. Ah, you see the wind? I just threw that rock. I threw that rock straight up in there. Yeah, there's another one. The wind's just catching these rocks that I'm throwing straight up in the air and just blowing them away. It's so windy. Some more rocks. There's the that's a tower right beside the Olympic torch. I noticed that. We went up against that the first time we were there a few years ago. It's a pretty cool thing. Imagine it's probably pretty popular with the rock climbers of the area. And check this out. It's like it looks like a king's crown holding up this big giant rock. That little bitty rock holding up that big huge rock. Such an interesting thing to see out here. All right, let's look back. This is where we just came from. This kind of bonus stuff. It's the entrance to the mesa. And right here, we're fixing to enter into the rocks that I had seen below. So I'm excited. Let's head on in there, see what we can find. Oh, I just saw this huge squirrel go scampering by, running off. I guess he's gonna go hide in one of these rocks. There's so many places for little squirrels and things to hide up here. Another thing that I'm worried about hiding up here is a snake. I'm glad there's no leaves on these little bushes, so I can kind of see where I'm stepping. If you were later in the summer or just later in the spring, and there's leaves up here, trying to walk around all this stuff, I don't know. I haven't seen any snakes in Moab, but if I was a snake, this is where I would be. Check out these rocks on top of the other rocks. That's so cool. There's like some kind of weak layer in between them that's getting eaten away. But the rock's still up on top of the other rock, at least for now. It'll eventually get eaten off. Well, check this out. Here's the Olympic torch out there in the distance. Let me try to zoom in on it. Yeah, there he is. The rock in the foreground. There's a couple of them stacked together, so it's kind of hard to see maybe through the camera. But that's the thing that I originally came to. Let's keep going. I'm always a sucker for wanting to be on top of the rocks. There's, there's seen some little paths down to the side, but I just like to get up on top. Oh, check this out. There's the mountain bike shuttle headed up to the whole Enchilada, or at least as high as it can go this time of year. It's amazing how the people in that shuttle, or most everybody else for that matter, they'll just drive by places like this and never realize they're there. That's just what I love about Moab. There's just so much to see that most people don't even know about. Like yesterday, I was at the Moonflower grocery store, and the nice little girl that was checking us out was like, "Where are y'all going?" And I told her we were going to Chicken Corners, and she kind of gave me a strange look, like, "What are you talking about?" So I asked her if she's ever heard of it, and she said no. I'm like, man, that's like one of the most famous trails in Moab's Chicken Corners, and she'd never heard of that. She lives here, she's never heard of it. She's probably not been here that long, but still. But just think about it. If you haven't heard of one of the most famous trails, I guarantee you almost nobody's heard about these type of things like this, where you just kind of find a pull out on the side of the road and keep on going. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do in Moab. I've found arches that way. I've found rock art. But right here, the wind's just blowing so hard that I can't control I can't stand up. I had to sit down. It's just the way it's coming over the top of this hill. So gotta try to shimmy down, get where I don't get literally blown away, then we can keep going. Oh, here's one of the coolest things I've seen so far. Check this out. It looks like a pig like rooting around out in a field somewhere. He's got his nose up to the ground. You can see his little head right there, his little stubby legs. Let's get up a little closer to him and see if we can get a better angle. It's kind of hard maybe to see him through the camera because there's a rock right behind him. But yeah, look at him. Looks like a little pig with his head down, just rooting around with his little stubby legs. So much neat stuff up here. I'm really getting down into the heart of all these rocks now, squeezing past these trees. Oh, check out this little passage over here. It kind of goes up and over. Let's check it out. Yeah, get up on this. Oh, yeah. Oh, look down here. It's like it's like a big giant hole just in the middle. It's like a missing rock. It's a little platform down there about, I don't know, 10 or 15 feet. Your your dimensions are thrown off so much when you're in these things. Like you can't tell how big something is when you go to jump any things. You're like, is that 1 foot away, 2 foot away? How far is that? Farther I get out on the mesa, the deeper the cracks in the rocks are getting. They've become slot canyons now. So instead of just jumping from rock to rock, you have to get down in here and get past these things. Now I got this little piece that's broken off, got to climb over it. And looking up, it's like 30 to 50 feet above my head. These rocks are really getting larger and larger coming out towards the end. This is the edge of the cliff wall. So directly in front of me or to my left is the cliff down to the valley below. We're real high up on this mesa. It's a lot of exposure right here, especially on this windy day. The wind's just kicking up. But, this looks like a little bitty crack, but it's big enough for me just to go right through, give you an idea of the scale. I've tried to turn my phone to the other position so that maybe can take in more of this canyon. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm kind of pinched out here. I'm going to turn around and go back for a second, try again on a different crack. This one's a little wider than the previous one. Can get through without scraping on the edges, but it leads back out to the edge of the mesa. There's just so many piles of rubble. This is such a rugged and tortured landscape in here. There's just the wind has devoured these rocks and cut all these grooves in it. If you like exploring, this is a cool place. I I wish I had more time here. I wish there was a trail to get directly back here because this took a lot of time to get over here. It's already after lunch and I got a pretty early start back up on the edge again. We're almost to the end of the mesa. This is kind of one of the last groups of rocks. These break off and then there's one more group ahead. I don't know how hard the wind's blowing. I'd say 60 miles an hour or better. Who knows? Look at the trees. I mean, usually don't see Moab trees shaking like that. Tell you what, the further we go out on the mesa, just the more interesting it gets. It's getting cooler and cooler with each step down here, and it's just all these cool little grooves or slots, whatever you want to call them. You could spend days crawling around and exploring it here. Look at this big boulder right here. It's like it's perfectly balanced. Oh, if you look at it close, the wind's blowing it. Look at this. Big, huge boulder, probably weighs 2,000 pounds, just rocking in the wind. That's amazing that the boulder's just sitting there. All these rocks have just had the bottom of them scoured away. There's nothing left. These little cracks go back up in there 30, 40 feet with nothing up under them. It's amazing that how these rocks are standing up like this. Went out yesterday. I took family from the bike team that I coach, and we went out to Chicken Corners on the, it was, if you've never been to Chicken Corners, that's probably one of the coolest things to go see if you're on a UTV because you can just cover so much ground. It's like going into the Grand Canyon. But anyways, we saw Chicken Corners, we saw mountain goats. I showed the kids a lot of rock art and even a few granaries, and they thought it was all cool. But in the end, the thing that they liked the most, and me too, was crawling around in the wind rock out there and just exploring through the cave. And this area, though it's not really a cave, it's more slots. Just being able to explore through the rock formations is just something I love to do. It's not for everybody. Not everybody loves crawling around on these things. I took a friend out here one time. He was completely uninterested. He's like, if you've seen one rock, you've seen them all. But for me, I want to see them all. I want to climb to all of them. I want to see all of them, climb up on top, squeeze through them. It's just what I love to do. I just came up over a set of boulders and I spotted this rock right here. I think he looks like a duck. He's got the face of a duck, and the bottom of it's the rock's just gone. So he just looks like a duck. He's got a little duck bill. You can see his eye. You just never know what you're gonna find. I finally made it all the way over to the far side of the mesa. I guess you would say the south side, and I can finally see into the Valley of Gnomes. See quite a few boulders down there and a few hoodoos. And I'm thinking that they might call the hoodoos the gnomes. I don't really see why they would call it the Valley of Gnomes. But the edge of this cliff's pretty awesome. It's got a different character from the other side. There's only a few slots leading up to it, but check out this rock. This rock is at least a 25-foot overhang of nothing. There's nothing below it. It's 400 foot down to the bottom of the canyon, and that rock's just broken in half and hanging over. I'm a little worried about what I'm hanging over right now, so I'm going to back away from the wall a little bit. I think I'm really only about a quarter of a mile left of hiking, maybe less until I can get off the mesa. But I'm just a sucker. I keep coming to the edge of the cliff. I mean, look on this side right here. Let me get out here. We get shimmied around this rock. Yeah, it's just more and more towers sticking up. Look at this tower. Tower's just right on the edge. It's amazing how these towers are. There's so many of them in Moab. They're everywhere. Heading back now. Okay, we made it back. That was a tough hike. 5 hours, 40 minutes. I'm not really sure how far I walked, maybe about 6 miles. It was all bushwhacking. There was virtually no trail. There was a minor trail going up to the Olympic Torch, but once you got on Balanced Rock Mesa, it really was just bushwhacking the whole way. I'm thoroughly worn out. I'm in the side-by-side. I'm about to head back to town. I'm gonna go by maybe Milt's and get a milkshake and a hamburger. I think I deserve it. It was quite the walk. You could probably save a half mile of hiking if you started from the balance. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm so tired I can't think straight. You could save a half mile of hiking if you started from the Olympic Torch trailhead, or what passes for the trailhead. I would say this is a late winter, early spring hike. You definitely don't want to do this hike when there's a lot of leaves on the little shrubs, because you won't be able to see the ground. And it just looks like the perfect place for a snake to be hiding. And so between the snakes, the heat, and the just not being able to see where you're going, I'd want to do it before the leaves got on the trees. Unfortunately, my hike was done on a windy day. There was literally extreme wind up there on that mesa. If I was going to do it again, I would try to plan it on a day that was not windy. Then it would just be so much more enjoyable. I was literally getting blown around. Maybe one day Moab Trail Mix will create a legitimate trail up there, so you can, hit the highlights without having to bushwhack, and more people would get to enjoy it. I literally did not see any foot tracks once I got on top of the mesa, which is cool, but there's no sense in not sharing the wonders of nature, so get up there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and check out our condos, Moab Adventure Condo. If you're coming to Moab, you got to have a place to stay. So why not stay with somebody that likes to do the same activities that you do? So hit us up, Moab Adventure Condo, and enjoy your trip to Moab. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.